Hey, now this is going to be a slightly different toy vlog because I don't actually have that many Polar Express items, and I'm so psychotically obsessed with this movie that I can't just not talk about it. Now, I am an odd mix of both an 80-year-old woman and an 8-year-old boy joined together as far as how I enjoy and feel about pop culture stuff like movies and TV shows. The big thing with me is if a movie can make me sob and emotionally devastate me, then I'm a huge fan for life. Now, anyone who knows me knows how emotional I feel about Christmas. It's like the biggest thing in my life. And when it comes to Christmas movies or Christmas specials or anything like that, if there's an emotionally devastating moment that just makes me have a nervous breakdown, then I'm a fan for life. Now, 3 of my big moments in movie special or Christmas movie special history is this. First one, lights please, and that's what Christmas is all about, Charlie Brown. Whew. And second, to George Bailey, the richest man in town. Kills me every time. But then the biggest one ever is this.
Okay. I believe. I believe.
I cannot tell you how much that emotionally devastates me every time I see it. Now, The Polar Express is my all-time favorite Christmas movie. And for me to say that, that's a huge deal. Because I am an old-school, stubborn mule when it comes to allowing newer stuff to break into the top level of Brian Love. I mean, I was raised in the 70s, before cable, or maybe not before cable, but we didn't have cable, where you had a limited number of channels and networks, but then at the bottom was that sweet UHF knob with like 60 channels on it. Some of you will have no idea what a UHF channel is. Google it if you're a child. And it was almost all local channels that just showed old movies and stuff. So I was raised on old movies. Like all my huge Christmas loves and movies that are my top favorite go back to, you know, the 40s and 30s. Now, when Polar Express came out in 2006, it's 10 years old. I don't know what 16 minus 10 is. When you're pretty, you don't have to be good at math. And at the time, my nephew was divorced from his first wife, and my great niece was like 5 or 6 at the time, and he would have her on the weekends. And when I would go visit them, what do you do when you have a kid for the weekend and you're a divorced dad? You take him to the movies. Now, Polar Express had come out, and I had seen the commercials for it, and it looked pretty cool. I mean, you know, I love Christmas movies. It looked like a, you know, sappy, happy Christmas kids movie, like kind of like DreamWorky, you know. And on top of it, it was playing at the IMAX in 3D. So you know, when you go to the movies and what an extremely immersive experience it is that you just can't get at home. So if there's like an emotional factor to it, it's just totally part of your soul. And then when it's an IMAX in 3D, forget it. Now, as soon as the movie started and that incredible Alan Silvestri kind of melancholy, dark, almost sinister music starts with the snow falling in 3D, and then the Polar Express comes up and then goes up, and then the movie starts. Within 5 minutes, I realized this was like no other Christmas movie I've ever seen. It wasn't a happy, peppy, let's burst into song movie. It was a very dark, sinister, introspective movie. I mean, as the movie goes on, it's just like one crushing emotional thing after the other. It's not Bing Crosby and Danny Kaye singing White Christmas and dancing in circles. It was just very dark. So it just one thing after the other where it's like, oh, my dreams have been crushed and this, that, and the other thing. So by the time it gets to the bell scene, the I Believe scene, it's such an emotional payoff that I swear to God, I was like, I mean, I was done. And ever since then, I've just been obsessed with this movie. But now, not besides just that scene and the emotional factor of it, it's just an incredibly well done movie. If you've never seen it, I can't recommend it more. It's just from beginning to end, it's just a modern masterpiece. So, if you haven't seen it, you should check it out. So, now, I mean, I could go on for 3 hours going by every little tiny scene in this movie and probably start crying and babbling like a loon, but I'll spare you that. But when the final payoff comes after the dark, sinister, really, of the whole movie with the bell scene, and you think everything's wonderful, bam, once again something devastating happens, and you're like, oh my God. But then at the end, there's the good payoff, and then the final moment of the movie, right before the credits roll, when you hear the narrator, who's Tom Hanks, talking as the kids get up from the Christmas tree to go have Christmas dinner. It says, "At one time, most of my friends could hear the bell, but as years passed, it fell silent for all of them. Even Sarah found one Christmas that she could no longer hear its sweet sound. Though I've grown old, the bell still rings for me, as it does for all those who truly believe." That is me to a T when it comes to Christmas. So I have such a personal connection and emotional love for this movie. I just can't recommend it enough. You have to see this movie if you love Christmas and just love beautiful movies that are extremely well done. So there you go. There's probably like 10,000 other things I planned on saying, but I mean, I would just be here for 3 hours and nobody wants to see that. So let's get on to the ornaments. Now, like you saw in the beginning, this is the bell, the famous bell. It says, "The bell still rings. The bell still rings for me." And it's got a little ticket to the Polar Express. And now, sure, I mean, the movie's 10 years old, so I don't think there's going to be any spoilers. But after the bell scene, he sees Santa for the first time. And every year, Santa invites somebody to come into the sleigh to receive the first gift of Christmas. So there he is, the boy, the star of the movie, in Santa's sleigh, telling him what he wants, which is the bell. And then you have Santa. He stands up and dramatically holds up the bell and says, "The first gift of Christmas." And these are all Hallmark, by the way. I don't know if Hallmark has a special deal with Polar Express, because I've never seen any other ornaments except by Hallmark for them. And then this is the scene. Now this is cool. A little Christmas light goes in the back and it lights up. It's really pretty. It's when the beginning of the movie, when the Polar Express comes down the boy's street and he runs out to greet it. Let's see. And then here's the actual book by Chris Van Allsburg, who wrote Polar Express. And then it's got a little 3D Polar Express. Really neat. And then this one is really cool. Now this one had batteries in it, but anybody who collects ornaments, these batteries are like $15 for a 3-pack to replace them. So once those batteries die, that's the end of the action for the ornament. As far as I'm concerned, it's just ridiculous. I just can't justify getting a freaking $15 pack of ornaments for something you're only going to use once a year. But it's got a little ticket down there, and you pull it, and you see the Polar Express going around. And actually, I guess that's it. Like I said, I don't have that many Polar Express ornaments, so there you go. If you have never seen the Polar Express, I'm telling you, you have to see this movie. If you love Christmas, if you're a big kid who's also an 80-year-old woman like I am, I cannot recommend this movie more. If you go to see it and you love it, you're welcome, America. Take care.